Hi, everybody. We want to welcome to the show. We're really excited about tonight's show. Lou and I both are. We've got Paul Mars Black here, and a very talented musician. They've got a new album out. We want to talk about that and ask him questions. If anybody in the chat has a question they want to ask, just throw it out there. We'll ask it. And so we're going to get started here. And so, Paul, how did your career in music start? Or how did you get interested in music to begin with? How old were you?
Oh, I kind of grew up in a musical family.
Okay.
I've loved music from before I can even remember. I just always liked the way it made me feel just to listen to music. And I think probably the thing that made me know that I wanted to be involved in music was watching the Ed Sullivan Show when I was a little kid, and just watching.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It just changed my life, and just looking at Ringo and what and watching that whole stage shake and everything. I looked at him and I was like,
right. Ringo is bringing his band to the Vina Robles Amphitheater here in Paso Robles.
Really? I'll be
yeah, I love Ringo.
Yeah. And now Journey's coming in June to the Paso Robles Fairgrounds too.
Yes.
Cool.
Are they going to have Perry? Is Perry back? Because I heard rumors he was rehearsing in LA. Is that true?
I haven't heard that. I don't know.
I think that would be big news.
I would think so, but they might be keeping it under wraps. That would be interesting.
Right. I just want to say to the chat, if you guys have any questions for Lou,
they're coming in.
Go ahead and write your question down, and we'll ask him.
Oh, what's happening here? Let's talk about Paul. We got two planets in the house, but this is the man right now.
I have a question for Lou.
Paul.
How did you start playing drums?
You tapped right on it. The first time I saw the Beatles on TV, I was in the Philippines. I was raised in the Philippine Islands, and we had 3 channels, like most people did back in those days in the 70s. Wow. But the Beatles came on. Yeah, and I saw Ringo. I had seen Elvis on TV, of course, and stuff as a child, but I had never seen a band. Right. And I hadn't started playing drums yet at that point, but I was fascinated by drummers. I couldn't keep my eyes off the drummers. Where most people watching the front guy, I love that action. I love show drummers, and in my opinion, Ringo Starr was the first rock and roll show drummer. I can't think of an actual rock drummer before him. The other guys were jazz. I was raised on jazz. So the long, short answer of that, watching Ringo doing those high art hits and swinging up there, and he's on a high rise, and they're showing him with the rest of the band. My heart just started pumping. I'm like, the girls are screaming. I'm like, I want to do that. I saw my career. Astronaut went out the window. I no longer wanted to be an astronaut.
Yeah, that's funny. You should.
Ringo was like a frontman drummer.
I have, later on in bands, because I get compared to Keith Moon and Gene Krupa a lot because of the way I play. That's my style. It's called a controlled crash, one critic said. And you know what? Yeah, and so I like that. I appreciate a drummer that plays a little bit on the edge. Not overplays, there's a big difference. But I like a drummer that creates an edge and plays a little bit on the edge of that beat to drive it, but not speed it. And that's a fine line. And I feel those guys, like Ringo was one of them. Gene Krupa, he was in an orchestra, and they pulled him to the front of 20 some odd people. That's a beautiful thing for a drummer.
Yeah,
right.
Later on. I love Gene Krupa. My dad turned me on to him when I was young, and I used to love Buddy Rich. I was following him everywhere.
Oh yeah.
When I was 17, I drove all the way down to Disneyland to watch him play, and then he played at my college when I was studying drums up in Sacramento City, and he came, and I was like right up front both times I watched him play, and then
he's amazing.
I was going out. I think I saw him about 3 times, but I went out to one of the shows that I saw him play at. He wasn't a real nice guy, but
that's what I heard.
But he's a great drummer, amazing. When you're up there watching, and you're just thinking, how does he do all that,
Yeah.
And I walked out to my car out of the parking lot, and his bus was out there, and the bus driver came out and asked me how to get to the 5 freeway so that they could get on their way back to LA. And so I gave him directions and stuff. Go do this, do that, go to the 99, and I go, by the way, can I say hi to Richard? To Buddy.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, let me see what I can do, kid. And he walked back and he dragged Buddy out in front of him. And he's like, he didn't want to be bothered. He goes, yeah. He shook my hand.
Hey, at least he did that. He did that, you know.
Hey, there's a couple of questions from the chat, or statements and questions. Betty says she's had the privilege to see Sonic Boom perform. They have a great show and two of the nicest, down-to-earth guys out there. And that's Betty Eddie,
Nice.
my wife.
Betty?
And she loved you guys. She loved you guys. And Maria Day says, Paul, you and Lou both. Who would either of you like to play with that you haven't played with yet?
Ooh. I'm going to let Sir Paul talk first.
Me first? Okay. With the Rolling Stones.
Oh, God, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the Rolling Stones because with, of course, the passing of Charlie Watts, I was asked often, you know, gosh, wouldn't you love to have that gig?
They need us now, huh?
Yeah, they do. But what a scary gig.
I would be frightened to death if they put me, but to try to fill Charlie's shoes.
That's the thing. You know, I'd be like,
right.
I'd be like apologizing the whole time. Thank you, people, but sorry about Charlie. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure you guys have seen the Stones in concert. I've seen them twice. I saw 1971 or 2 in Long Beach. I'd moved to Long Beach from Las Vegas, where some of my friends had already moved, and we saw the Exile on Main Street concert at the Long Beach Arena.
Oh wow!
And the interesting thing about that was Stevie Wonder opened for him, and I was a big Stevie Wonder fan. I love Stevie Wonder.
What year was
really
that?
Soul, and Stevie Wonder was a little different, but I really got into him for a while. And I'll never forget, Stevie Wonder came out and started playing. They didn't dim the lights. It was like it was still intermission pre-show, and people were going up and down the aisles talking loudly, and it was like they weren't even paying attention to him. He did about 7 songs. I'll never forget this. He goes, "I'm going to get out of here and let you see the band you came to see."
Wow.
So when I did a Rolling Stones unboxing, the first album I unboxed was was Stevie Wonder's Greatest Hits, and I told that story and told the reason I did that was, give him his due because he wasn't treated very nicely at the concert, And so anyway, then we saw him again in Portland, Oregon, the Bridges to Babylon tour. And I'll never forget my wife. This is like 25 years later. Her comment was the biggest difference between then and now, because we saw them together in the early 70s in Long Beach, she said was the size of the panties that were being thrown on stage. I'll never forget that. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, you got to say, of the frontmen of all time, Mick Jagger. I mean, who moves like that? Here's a guy that would lose wouldn't even make it past the preliminary rounds of The Voice or American Idol, who deservedly, but shows what a real rock star of attitude, movement, and style in writing is.
Yeah,
that's the reality. No such thing. You're not going to have an award show on TV that's going to have a Mick Jagger.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what's so great about that band there off the bat.
Right.
The whole thing is great, but Mick Jagger, God, who wouldn't want that guy as a front man for their band? I mean, come on.
Right.
Right off the bat. But to answer that question earlier, I'd play with Paul Mars. You guys haven't heard his new song. I'm a big Dylan fan, and it's very, in my opinion, I hope it's not offensive, but I felt it was very Dylan-ish. I heard some Dylan in there, even a little petty kind of flavor. But what's interesting is your back line is not Dylan-ish. How would you describe your current back line, your rhythm section right now? It's because that was not Dylan, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a mix of a lot of like everything we listened to growing up, like all the old classics. I mean, punk and as well. But like Dylan is one of our big influences. For Joe, the Faces, and me too, big time. Rolling Stones, Beatles, and I did actually. As far as rhythm section, we had a guy named Muddy Stardust that played bass a lot, and I did a lot of the drumming actually.
Wow.
We had another guy, Dennis Morehouse, that played some drums. It was kind of a eclectic. Just we just pulled in all our friends that were really great musicians and pulled it all together. But
okay.
I'm very picky about the drums, so I couldn't really find. It was hard for me to find somebody that did them the way I wanted them for my songs, other than me. So
Yeah.
So and when we were producing it and mixing it, I told the and miking everything and stuff. I told the drummer I told the engineer producer. I said I want the drums to be like the drums on Abbey Road. That's what I don't like that big. I don't like the big '80s drum trick. The gated reverb.
The reverse gate. Yeah.
Yeah, that big, huge drum sound. I never really like that. I want the drums to be like just felt, and But the Abbey Road sound, those old school everything, Beatles, Rolling Stones, all that old school drum sound. That's what I like.
I like all that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did the tracks on your own album on the drums, is what we just heard, right?
Yeah, the one, like a lot of them. I mean, Everybody Rains on My Parade for sure. Everybody Rains on My Parade, Tree for Shade.
Right on.
Your Home. And then we had a drummer that we were working with for a while. Dennis Morehouse. He did some drums, and I think Muddy Stardust did a lot of the bass. And then we had another guy that was in our band that used to play with Izzy Stradlin's band.
Really?
Yeah, Tony Babylon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I had Izzy Stradlin and the Juju Hounds CD.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Are you fronting the band though, right, Paul?
Well, yeah, I did all the singing. I wrote all the music with Joe. Joe Dogg's my partner. He's a guitar player. And what I like about working with Joe Dogg is it just plays with such passion. He's nothing metal or shredding or anything about him. He just plays with passion. And it's rock and roll.
Yeah, he does.
The mistakes are our favorite parts. When we
Thank you.
But it sounds good, and we leave it there. And he just me and Joe kind of like, he's like a vocalist with his guitar. So it's like I can sing the little riffs and melodies and stuff, and then he echoes me with it. So there's a lot of playing off each other, which is really unusual for a singer and a guitar player to play off each other.
Yeah.
And then obviously we work well as a rhythm section too, because he's a very rhythmic player, and I play drums. So
wow.
We just kind of find the players to fill in little pieces here and there, but basically the band is kind of me and Joe.
Right. Oh, there they are. Look at those two guys.
Here's a picture of you and Joe. And Joe painted two nice paintings for me that are sitting behind me. Yeah.
He's a great artist.
That's a great picture. I had to show that. Yeah. The ones behind me, I've got Jimi Hendrix and the white fringe. I sent him a photograph of that from Woodstock. I had to have Jimmy in the white fringe playing on Woodstock. And the other one was Jimmy Page playing the double neck. We've done some painting and some repairs out in the front room, so I had to take everything down. I still have to
So great.
That was actually the entry hall of my house, those two paintings of his.
Joe did all the artwork for the album as well.
Nice.
Looks great.
Well, let me show your album real quick to the people in the chat. This is the new album. It's available in red vinyl, also in CD. And I can't wait to get a copy of it myself. I'm really looking forward to it because I've heard these guys play. I've been to, I think 3 times. I've been to 3 of your shows, and it was just, I really, really enjoyed it. You guys are great.
Great, thank you.
A lot of fun. So if anybody in the chat has any questions, also don't be afraid to throw them out. Daddy Boggs says he's seeing Carmen Apiece play, or he saw him back in the 60s in a small place. In
the 60s?
The Action House in New York.
You had to be young.
Always be a great memory for him,
How old is Carmen? I won't even ask that up. You didn't seem
I don't know. Did he play like a Vanilla Fudge or something like that?
I got a Carmine story.
Oh, I can't wait.
Well, the first drum book that anybody ever got me. I mean, well, first of all, I had the rudiments that the 13 essential rudiments, and then you turn them over to the 26.
No, there's 40 more.
That's what I started out learning. My dad, I wanted to play drums, and my dad one day finally came home with a snare drum, and that got me started. And it had a little, the 26 rudiments, and my brother taught me how to learn how to. He was a really great trumpet player. He taught me how to read the rhythms, and I taught myself all the rudiments and stuff, which is kind of really what you need as a drummer.
Yeah.
And but then the first book that I ever got where drum beats were actually written out was written by Carmine Appice.
No way.
I've never figured out if it's Carmine Appice or Carmine Appice.
I've heard it both ways too.
I don't know either. Yeah.
But
I figured I
the
screwed
band I
up.
ever played with in Hollywood was a band called, it ended up becoming called Mad Captions, but at first we called it Arm Etc., which is some weird name. But I was going to school as a percussion major in San Jose State, at San Jose State. At that time, San Jose State was the best place you could go for percussion on the West Coast. So I was studying percussion there, but then there was a band in Hollywood that asked me to join them, but they wanted me to do. So actually, they came up to San Jose to do a gig with me. We rehearsed at my house in San Jose, did a gig there, and then the next day we came down and did a show that a friend of mine set up, opening up for Carmine Appice, and it was at the college, Santa Barbara College, and
nice.
And it was great. I got to meet Carmine and everything, and you know, I always remember that I studied out of his book.
That's awesome.
But personally, that's not really the style of drumming I ended up liking. He's a, you know, of course he's a great drummer, and he's
right.
But I always like that the drums to have a little swing to it, a little you know, loose feel is what I like.
He's not. I'm going to put this kindly. First off, he was very good at improvising. And created some new techniques that a lot of us hadn't seen, even down to his tricks where he would do the double sticks in each hand, 2 sticks in each hand going around the top. That was his gig when I saw him back in the Night Train in Tucson. We were playing there at the same time. But what he's lacking, I feel, and this is Carmine, I love you if you're listening, but what he's lacking is that jazz.
I love Carmine.
I do too. I'm just saying I'm preempting that for any of the people so I don't get slammed. But I'm saying this with love, but he's not a drummer first. And
he's rock.
It's a true statement. And so his books, and I've seen them, fantastic books, but they are rock drumming books. And I come from a jazz background, and I'm the same way. I think, and I'm biased here, but I think some of the best drummers come from jazz, not the blues, not from rock. I think the best rock drummers come from jazz, actually. Yeah. And again, like John Bonham, he's one of them. He was a jazz drummer, gone rock, and he's up there in the listings. And most of them are. Buddy Rich, obviously, you know, jazz drummer. So I totally what you said. As soon as you said that book, though, I totally could see the notes in his book. I've seen him. If you want to be a straight ahead rock drummer, that's one of the best guys to check out his books. I'm going to save myself for that statement right there.
And John Bonham had a lot of swing to him, you know. I realized later on, he's a rock drummer, but he's like, there's a lot of swing, you know? What made Bonham, what brought Bonham out. Bonham.
Oh yeah, and you know, you Paul, you kind of remind me a little bit with your drumming background. You kind of remind me of Steven Tyler a little bit because you've got the ability to be the front guy. You got the cool look and the voice, but at the same time, you were drumming first, which is very Steven Tyler. That was his background in Aerosmith. He's a heck of a drummer first. And then they pulled him up front, kind of like a Phil Collins thing, pulled him up. But Denny Cremasi is one of the guys that kind of an unsung hero like that too, from Montrose. He did that double beat. Everybody was starting to use double kicks, and all of a sudden he comes out there, boom, boom, bop, with Rock Candy, got boom, you know, and that just changed everything, kind of the same way, you know. Anyways, I don't want to go on a rant on that. Back to Paul. People. Back to Paul.
I really like the fact that this interview is taking a drum talk.
You started it. I'm trying to get it back on the rails.
Why not? I mean,
why not? It doesn't matter. We can go off the rails all we want.
And, you can't be too excited with that.
Just the facts, and I know Lou knows just the facts. But he's actually a co-host often too, and he's got a podcast as well. He's got a good podcast called Just the Facts. But he's saying that Carmen performed at Ride for Dime. Well, Just the Facts was really good friends with Dimebag Darrell and his brother Paul, and he was good friends. And once Dime got killed, he organized Ride for Dime, and they'd go on a Harley Davidson ride to commemorate Dimebag Darrell. You know, so
he's an awesome guy.
And that He just
I just saw
mentioned
his thing.
that
Speaking
about
of Dimebag and drummers, what's his brother's name? What's Dimebag's brother's name?
Vinnie Paul.
Vinny, yeah, Vinnie Paul. Okay, so
Okay.
when I was touring in Texas with LA Guns in like 2006, 2007, there was twice where we rolled into town and he hosted me, stayed at his house, everything, and just
No kidding.
he opens his door. That guy's the nicest guy. He just opens his doors to everybody and says, "Come on over and hang out." You know,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And that was Vinnie Paul. Well,
that was
Vinnie Paul. Okay, well,
Dimebag's brother is Vinnie Paul.
Dan just posted last week that somebody bought Vinnie Paul's house. They just demolished it to put a new house up. And Dan was really bummed about that because, he was real close to those guys.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Vinny, yeah. I think I have to go to locations really quick.
Right.
Oh, that's okay.
My girlfriend is unloading groceries and making a ton of noise.
We can't. It's okay. We can't hear the noise. Hi, girlfriend.
Hello.
So he's trying to bail from the area. She pushed him out of the area.
I'm gonna go outside on my porch.
Modern rock star life. That's what we should call it. Modern rock star. Modern rock star. This is the true life. This is the real deal of what it's really like to be a rock star.
Yeah, no, I just hang out with rock stars, you know.
I just play one on TV.
The very few that'll let me, that is.
Hey, Paul, so this album coming out, it's mid-May, right?
Yeah.
What was the date? May 13th officially?
May 13th, yes.
May 13th, official date. Album comes out. I heard a couple tracks already. At least I heard one for sure. And then, but you're not sure if you're going to follow it up with a tour because of all the, things are just starting to open up. But you think maybe the end of the year, possibly, or next year?
If it makes sense, but I'm, after when COVID hit and all the gigs went away, I started, I had to do something else, and I got asked to help a friend of mine in real estate, because I had a real estate license, and real estate's been
it's booming. It's back, yeah.
I sold like 40 houses last year, so
man.
Now the gigs are starting to get offered back to me, and I'm going, man, I got to do real estate.
The money's over here. The money's over here. Some ladipi, please.
Yeah, you live.
If somebody comes and offers me a ton of money to go on tour, I'll do it. Because I love, obviously that's my first love.
The stage is awesome. Yeah, it's hard to beat. There's nothing like it. Yeah, I got a feeling you'll be back.
Right.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna let us.
I do keep a steady gig down in LA every Thursday. I play it. I can't give up my weekends because that's when everybody wants to see houses.
Right,
I
right.
love real estate. I love taking people on the journey of finding their dream home and handing them the keys at the end. It's pretty cool. But I do.
That's fantastic.
I keep my steady gig every Thursday, so I'm at least playing music, and I play around the house, of course. I got my little recording studio downstairs.
Right on. Well, where's the site where they're going to go in case you do make announcements of updates on that for the album, or what's the official website of the album that they?
Well, there's a shoot. I should send you guys the links, but I think there's a Bandcamp page, Joe Dog and Paul Black.
Okay, just Google that probably, and it'll pop up.
Yeah. And I have a website, but I don't have a store up there yet because the guy that's putting it out is a guy named Darren Sadler. It's actually been released in Europe because our fan base is over there. It's like over here. And,
well, yeah, you've had in the past.
Music anymore.
You charted in the UK not too long ago, right?
I think so. All I know is when I go over there, I play to sold out crowds, and if I play over here, it's like people are like, okay.
Well, America's much more difficult on all of that, whether it be charting, the record stuff. You got to have 7 gold medals to be a champion, in this. But you get a bronze in other countries, and you go home, they have a ticker tape parade, Yeah.
When I go to Italy, when I go to places like Italy or Argentina and stuff, I feel like a rock star. I feel like
right.
Over here, it's like people are okay. We've seen rock and roll before.
It's like me when I go to get a coffee. Luke, no, it's Lou. But everywhere else, it's already sitting there for you. You're right. It's kind of a shame. Hopefully, music really took a hit here in the States and abroad, but really took a hit, I feel, in the arts. So I think the pro that has happened is guys like you the scene is exploding right now. I mean, just exploding with new music, like your release. And the bands are back out. Some of them are already back out. What people don't realize, you can't just throw a tour together and just hit the road. It takes a year to 2 years to really plan a good tour. I mean, a solid one. And so all these tours that got canceled for guys like you and me in the last couple of years, it is wise to kind of sit back a little bit, make sure everything's settled, make sure they don't have another version of something happening this fall and we lose it all again. So I think it's a really smart plan you've got with your album rolling out. You probably can knock out a couple more videos, which will get you some more traffic, and then have that baby ready, primed up for Christmas. It's a great strategy.
I mean, what I got to say about this album is it's probably the best thing I've ever done. And it's, nice. I think it annihilates anything. It doesn't even come close to what LA Guns has done. As a matter of fact, LA Guns is kind of an embarrassment to me. When I was in the band, it was more of I was trying to do more of a punk version of the Rolling Stones. And when I left the band, they became like cliche high five heavy metal, which I'm not into. And I'm like a rock and roll musician. And I love punk. I was in the early days in 1980, and when I came to LA, I was really involved in the punk scene. So I like that raw edge, but I also like the classic rock and stuff. And for me, rock and roll has to have melody, and you have to have good lyrics, and you have to have a groove. Obviously, because I'm a drummer. And I just think that this has all the elements of everything I've ever loved about music. And there's a lot of variety to it. It's just a mix of eclectic Americana music. And I feel like every song kind of came out great. I'm proud of every single song on this record. And it's just starting to trickle out right now. There's only 2 singles out there, but I'm feeling a little bit of momentum and feedback. And I read a review today that just made me want to cry.
I think I saw that, and I think I shared it.
Do we have it? Can you post it up?
I actually I don't know if I could post it up, but it's the one that was by Dom Daly, right? Daly?
Yeah, Dom Daly.
Yeah. He said these 12 tunes are a stitched together golden thread of everything that the pair have in their collective hearts, beating out of their chest and onto the wax. How cool is that? Beating out of their chest and onto the wax. I don't have my glasses on, so bear with me here, guys. Okay, beating out of their chest and onto the wax and through your speakers. It's a thoroughly engaging record that has a wonderful natural ebb and flow. They also call on the help of some of their friends who clearly share the passion and deft touches required to make a record like this sound so loved and honest. Wow, this is great.
Wow, nice.
Muddy Stardust, who also helped produce the record, plays bass and keyboards. Dennis Morehouse, Gilby Clarke's band, plays drums. Tony Snow, Soul Asylum's Chris Joyner, keyboards, and Tony Babylon, Izzy Stradlin, also lends some bass guitar. From the invite on the bluesy opener, it's a hootenanny masterclass.
Nanny.
Awesome. Hootenanny masterclass. Tree for Shade is loose and like a summer breeze, a hint of Ronnie Lane and his Faces tunes. They're holding back on this one, knowing there's no point in going in too early. But as soon as the solo slides out of the speaker, you just want to crack open a cold beer and get on your feet to applaud the masterclass of Joe Dogg's guitar. Wow. This is the one.
Poetic. Right? It's like poetic.
Yeah. And he says, "Oh shit, we've reached the finale end. With regards from hell, this is a record that will kickstart the most cynical of hearts who want to hear a bloody excellent rock and roll record, void of ego, void of drama, void of pretensions, but bursting with a love of rock and roll that goes into writing the best song you could possibly muster from deep within your soul. Paul Black and Joe Dogg have delivered an absolute belter, a beautiful record in many ways, and one that will be appreciated by true believers of the fine art of what it takes to write great soulful music that comes from the heart and leaves nothing behind. 100% the Starr buy on this RSD 2022. Go get it.
Wow.
No,
Wow,
I'm
bravo.
telling you. I mean, this is
Wow.
like every bit of this
Good.
pure poetry, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, well written. And the words that were chosen, very interesting selection
Yeah.
of words. You know, critics are usually at their best when they're criticizing. So it's beautiful to hear a wonderful write-up that's
Right,
actually
right.
positive. You know, and that was well done on top of that. How do you feel about that, Paul? I mean, yeah, you said
Well,
probably
maybe
the
it felt
tears.
good. I read it this morning. It felt good.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to at all. Nothing bad about
Oh my
that
God.
review at all.
I've never read such a beautiful review in my life.
Solid from beginning. He's basically saying that you could listen to the entire album from front to back and was upset that it ended too soon. Almost is the way he's wording it, right?
Yeah.
He's like,
We didn't want to be too long. We put a lot of thought into making it a concept album. You know, that was kind of told a story from beginning to end. And I think it was right to. I think it was just right. You know.
well, yeah.
I can't wait to hear it.
I think the soul of the song, at least I heard, the soul and the style. I think you're taking a style that we have somewhat lost, and you're bringing it back, modernizing it, and that's where the magic to me is. You're bringing back authenticity in this song, in this music.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. Yeah.
And you opened up saying that very succinctly with when you were talking about being around the beat a little bit, and that's the way I took it. That it's not so much being on a metered track; it's about playing with heart, and that's so important. And everything comes in full circle. I've been waiting for this day because we got a little mechanical. You know, I'm not one of those people saying there's never any new good music. That's a lie. There's always new good music. You got to keep listening.
Right.
And this is proof. This is proof right here. There is good music. There is good new music. If you don't like the new music, well, here you go. We've got some of this. It's like seeing the new version of an old car coming back out, all revamped, you know, but off the line. It's like,
yeah.
There's the new vet, but it's got all the modern stuff. You know, it's kind of like that. Yeah, I like that. So congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Sorry for the rant. I couldn't help it.
Got a new person in the chat here tonight, Zeke Trick.
Hey, Zeke. What a name.
How you doing, buddy?
Toledo, Ohio.
Thanks for joining us.
Ohio.
Thanks for joining us, Zeke. You're appreciated.
Hey, Zeke, if you want to ask a question to Paul, get it in there and we'll ask it.
Yeah. Anybody got a question for Paul? Just put it out there in the chat. We'll ask Paul for an answer. Discussion, answer, whatever you guys want.
While we're waiting for that, I got a question for Paul.
While we're waiting for maybe some other questions from the chat, let's see. Betty says, "Hi Zeke." Okay, Linda, hi Zeke. Tell us a little bit about your how this whole LA Guns thing came together and stuff like that. I know it's Sonic Boom today, so we don't want to dwell on that. We want to dwell on Sonic Boom, but just a curiosity for people that are familiar with LA Guns, how that all came about and stuff.
That was a really bad experience.
Okay.
That was so real. It hurt.
I was doing what I love to do, playing drums with a really cool band called the Joneses, but I wanted to write songs. Okay. And so LA Guns was a band I started to incorporate my songs. For a while, it went a really cool direction. We were selling out clubs and stuff, and then it went to crap. You know, it fell apart, and they stole my songs. It turned into a big lawsuit, and it really held up my career because I was tied up with in litigation for years, and I couldn't get my new band because of. So it was a bad experience all the way around.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd never heard any of that before.
Yeah,
but
anyway, so that's the negative stuff. And I talk about everybody always asks me about it, and I've talked about it over and over again. You can go online.
Tired of it.
Story. So, but on the positive end, I got the best album I've ever done is out now, and
it's, awesome.
Musicians I love, and it, I'm not looking to be a big rock star, in my age, but I love music and I'm passionate about music, and this is, whether anybody ever discovers it or not, this record is a really good record.
That's great.
I think you're gonna. Go ahead.
Are those redwood trees behind you on your deck?
They're
Royce, squirrel.
They're sugar pines and cedars behind me.
Okay, are you living in Los Angeles somewhere? Or?
No, I'm in Lake Arrowhead. This is
Oh,
where
that's
beautiful.
and that's
okay.
my house. It's a log. I live in a log cabin house.
Oh, nice, nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Well, you know,
Well,
and I speaking of, I gotta get a question in on him real quick because I
Yeah, go
have
ahead.
locations. So way back, I don't want to talk about the LA Guns part of this, but I'm going to say I saw LA Guns in Tucson, Arizona when I was a youngster. So I saw your original band. So you might have been the guy I saw on drums. I didn't know that.
What year was it?
This would have been around 78, 79. Does that sound about right?
LA Guns
Is that
didn't
too
start
early?
until 1985.
Oh, then it wasn't you. Or maybe it was a little bit later, but I thought it was LA Guns. But it was in Tucson. I thought it was you guys.
No, we were
Scratch that.
we
Etch a
started
sketch.
mid-80s. I started the band in 1985. Yes.
So I'm trying to think. So I was Crystal Travel Back Tour. I don't know. It might have been, you know what? I might be thinking of Faster Pussycat, but I think that was around
No,
the time too.
they're after us.
Yeah.
So
God, so then I may have my years screwed up.
Aerosmith.
Could be. That might be. But anyways, you were saying right now I'm in Chico, and you were saying you had a Chico story.
Oh, another drum story. So so I was a jazz drummer, and when I was about 17, playing around the Sacramento, I got to know all the old jazz cats around Sacramento, and they all knew that I could just sit in and play. My dad started me out, real young. He'd take me to the Dixieland festivals when I was real young, and let me sit in with all the older guys. And little by little, I got to know the whole jazz scene. And I was, my early bands were rock and roll and bluegrass and everything, but real straight drumming, 4/4, and I just wanted to expand. I wanted to get into syncopation and polyrhythms and swing and the whole jazz thing, just to kind of expand myself as a drummer. So I joined this jazz Latin band, and it was I think it was called Tava, and real intricate, drumming and stuff. And we went up. We got this gig. In those days it was big. You were either like disco or you're rock and roll, and you didn't mix the two. But and if you were in a disco band trying to make money as a musician, you didn't want to admit to your rock and roll friends. We were a jazz band, but we got a gig at a disco in Chico, California.
Wow!
And we got fired the first night.
Oh man!
It was you're playing. You come to a disco and you're playing jazz. They kicked us right at So we got a gig. We lost that gig right away. It was supposed to be a 2-week gig, and then so we got another 2-week gig up in Tahoe, playing for all the. It started at like 12 midnight, and then went till 4 a.m. It was a disco where everybody would come down from the casinos late at night and play disco, and same thing. We played our jazz set, and they said, "Look, if you don't go home and learn 4 sets of disco tunes, danceable disco tunes, and come back here tomorrow, you're fired." Right? So
damn.
We went home to our cabin and we stayed up all night listening to AM radio. We could barely get it in. We could tune it in, and we couldn't play it back. It wasn't the days where you could rewind tapes.
Right.
Shit.
To it and just get it. And we listened and listened to whatever we could. We go, okay, there it is. And at that time I had a falsetto, so it was my job to sing all the Bee Gees songs. And we just we learned a whole set of disco songs, and we went and kept.
Oh man, that's wild.
So that's my Chico story. Yeah, how I got into disco.
Man.
Okay, there's
what about
I joined the chat called. His name is Frank James, and what he wants to know, Paul, is what is the concept or the history behind the new LP?
The history?
Yeah.
The concept is, we just, I hit it off with my songwriting partner, Joe Dog, and we wanted to play a mix of, everything that we were influenced by,
Okay.
And we went through a lot of hard times and hardships and stuff. We wrote about it all. Our music was our outlet. So the whole concept behind this music was just showing people how we feel and expressing ourselves through music,
Right.
in the best way we can. And there's a lot of really heartfelt, sad lyrics mixed in with happy melodies, and then we mixed all our influences together. You know, Rolling Stones, the Who,
Yeah.
the Faces, all old, you know, Lead Belly, you know, all the old blues.
Yeah. Old blues. Yeah.
We mixed some Spanish stuff. We wanted to do what all our heroes did, you know, whereas they wouldn't just play rock and roll. They took from everything and put it in, you know, like Beatles. You know, you could hear a French song or a Spanish song. You know, they weren't rock and roll. They were, you know, and they weren't just pop. They were everything, you know. And that's the concept behind this album is we wanted to kind of bring things back and teach people how it was done in the
Right.
past, how it was really done without a whole bunch of technology. We wanted to sound like a band, like, you know, 5 people on stage playing their instruments, not, you know, manufacturing it with a computer. You know,
Right.
you know,
Right.
we left in all the mistakes. You know, we just play. We went in. That's how we did it. We basically, it's a live album. You know, we had some
Nice.
we mixed it and did some edits and stuff, but we didn't go in there with machines trying to, like, you know, using Beat Detective, making everything perfect. And, you know, we wanted it to sound like we were actually playing it. So we used minimal technology.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the concept of the Wilburys, you know, where you had these superstar guys who had access to all this technology, but they took it back down, and they, you know, made it look like they were just traveling band. And you had that kind of feel with your stuff, where it's just really clean, not a bunch of overdubs going on. I really liked it. It's good stuff. I can't wait to hear the whole album.
Cool.
Yeah.
It'll be out soon.
Yeah, May 13th. I'm going to help you with that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if you go to Record Store Day UK, or just go to Record Store Day and punch in Joe Dog and Paul Black's Sonic Boom, everybody, just type in the title, Everybody Rains on My Parade.
Right.
You can order it now.
I'll get the MP3s.
Yeah,
So
you can get it.
So how did you feel it transfers over? You know, because you mentioned a concept album. One of the problems the young peeps have today with concept albums is the breakup of the MP3. When it's being sold in an MP3 format, it takes it out of the context of the order. How do you feel that's going to affect your album, being that it's a concept album? It seems to be in a sequence.
It's not going to have any effect at all. I mean, it's just, we're just putting out the music. It's going to have a life, and people are going to like it or they're not, you know?
Yeah. You feel those songs are going to stand alone on their own without issue because
each song is going to stand on its own. That's what I like about it. I mean, we put it in the order that we thought makes sense, but it may not be necessarily the way people want to listen to it. You know, for me, when I like a song, I'll listen to it 100 times over. It's like when I was a kid, I got my dad. You know, I saw the Beatles, and I just fell in love with the Beatles. My dad brought home all these little 45 singles, you know, vinyl singles, and I found that song "Saw Her Standing There" by the Beatles, and I learned how to work the record player. I was like 4 or 5 years old. Over and over and over and over again. I just, you know, I drove everybody crazy. If I love a song, I'll just keep playing it.
Yeah, put it on rotation. Absolutely. What's your favorite track off your own album right now?
I think the biggest kind of a hit would be "Everybody Rains on My Parade." I just think it's the best
title track,
you know, because the time frame, the chorus is catchy, what it says lyrically, the melody, the guitars, everything sounds good, and then also "Tree for Shade" is the same as that too. So it's same everything about that. But my actual favorite track on the whole record is a ballad, and it's called "Blue Like the Morning." And I wrote it for a movie.
Blue Like the Morning. Okay.
I had a director friend that was that had a movie called "Blue Like the Morning." She sent me the script, and I wrote it for the movie. But it's absolutely my favorite track ever. I wrote it after reading the script, and I played it for her over the phone. I played it for my friend over the phone, and she cried, and she said, "Can you record that for my movie?" So I went in. The next day I had a rehearsal, and Muddy. It was just me on drums. I played brushes, and Muddy. I had barely even gotten through playing the songs, and Joe Dog and Muddy, we were already hitting the record button and doing it. We were recording before I could even finish playing the whole one. And it came out probably the best recording and the best performance I've ever had in my life. So absolutely. I think Blue Like the Morning is one of my favorites. And then my favorite rocker is the newest song of the ones that we've written that I wrote with Joe, and it's called Dead in the Water. And it's just a straight out rocker, and it's just a great song.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear them all. Yeah.
Everybody Rains on My Parade, Tree for Shade, Blue Like the Morning, and Dead in the Water. And then I've got other. I mean, I could go through the whole record and talk about how this one's my favorite for this, and this one's my favorite. You know, I have a song that we wrote called Mi Vida Loca, and I had a friend named Pascal that was in the and Joe speaks Spanish and Portuguese. I was telling them, this is what I want to say in Spanish, and they would teach me how to say what I wanted to say in Spanish and phonetically how to say it, and I sang it in the studio. This was a recording that we did, and it was live to tape. I mean, it was done to tape, and we had 2 days in the studio, and we were just experimenting, and then we couldn't get a third day because that studio that we were in kept getting booked, and then they finally said, you know, look, we just don't have time for you, and they gave me the tape back. And for years we didn't even know what we had done, and then years later I ended up getting a studio, and I transferred everything on the tapes to Pro Tools, and we listened back to it and we go, oh, that's right. and then we sent it to actually Joe's drummer, Bam, did a mix of it, and it's like, oh my God, that's such a great song. We got to put it on the album. And I think we did a couple little bit more overdubs and just to kind of give it the final touches, but the vocals we kept the vocals the same. I didn't even know what I was saying, but it's like half Spanish, half English.
Okay.
And it's called Mi Vida Loca, and it's just a great track. I don't think it's probably not a big hit or anything. It's like more like an album track, I'd say.
Cool. Oh, that's cool.
It's just showing another side of us, which I like, you know.
I think it's often that the artist has a different favorite than what the hit or that the public is going to like. There's different reasons. I think you just kind of exposed that. You play several instruments. Go ahead, Royce.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. I was just saying that's often the case. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, you know, it sounds like drums are your first love, but and which same here, even though we are both multi-instrumentalists. So my question to you is that, I don't know if you're like me on this. Do you like to play different music relative to the different instruments that you have? So like if you're on the drums, what genre do you like to favor versus like guitar or piano, or is it all the same for you?
Oh, I like it all. I like to just mix it up. I mean, you know, I just like to throw it all in there, you know. And I play, I'll throw in whatever, even if I don't know how to play it, I'll play it. You know? But I know my way around a marimba. So there's some marimba on there. I know I can play the ukulele, so I put a little ukulele on there here and there.
That's awesome.
I play harmonica and stuff, all kinds of percussion, shakers, and you know, bongos or not bongos. Do a little tabla drumming, and then the guitars. Even though I play guitar, I leave that pretty much up to Joe because he's just such a good guitar player. You know, why would I do that? You know, it's like,
right.
Live, I get it. When we're playing live, I'll cover the rhythm and let him do like everything else. But you know, when it comes to the studio, just you take it, Joe.
Now, did I read that Joe's from England? Joe Dog, your partner?
Yeah, he was actually originally from Portugal.
Oh, from Portugal.
And then he moved as you know, when he was young, he moved to the UK and grew up there. Yeah, and then his first band that got really popular, a band called Dogs D'Amour. They were kind of a very popular English band.
Gotcha. I want to show a couple of pictures I loaded and see if you have any comments on them. I think most of them might. Well, here we go. Let's pull this one up.
Oh, cool! Look at that.
That's Joe's artwork. Yeah.
Oh, is that Joe's artwork? Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can kind of see it now, but that's awesome. So you guys were with Tony Snow and Tony Babylon playing at the Mozambique in Laguna Beach, or Laguna Beach. Awesome. I used to love going down to Laguna Beach when I first moved to Long Beach in 71. Yeah. I had a Harley Davidson at the time when I was 18 years old, and I just get on Coast Highway. I didn't work, I just got on Coast Highway daily and go in and out of all the beach towns. Just loved it.
Oh,
But Laguna Beach back then is a little different than the Laguna Beach today. It was pretty crazy.
Is Joe in the States as well? Is he back in the States?
yeah, he's in the States. He works for Universal Music right now.
Oh, right on. That's got to be a good gig.
Yeah.
So how frequently do you meet other than the one show? Oh, go ahead, Royce. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just curious that, well, he's got the gig on Thursdays because you're doing the real estate thing on the weekend, and you got that regular gig going. Does Joe join you on those gigs at all on Thursday, or is that just you?
No, it's just me. Just singer-songwriter style. You know, I just go and play for a wine. It's San Antonio Winery. It's a historic winery that's downtown. It's just my steady gig that I kind of go in. And, you know, people come
experiment with new stuff,
drink wine, and have a good time.
Right on. Do you have any plans to do like any duet shows with him or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always up for it, so we will eventually. We'll get back into it. I mean, I'm never going to stop playing live, you know. But right now, everything's just kind of on hold still because of all the uncertainty. And we're going to we're just going to see how it goes and see where there's interest and see if there's a reason for it, you know. And if there is, we'll get out there and play for sure. So
now that album,
that means you got to go buy the record. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the front cover that you just showed. Was that a little bit of a Chuck Berry thing I just saw on that Design Inspire?
Yeah, that was art by Joe Dog.
Joe Dog, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a little Chuck Berry influence on that. I like that.
I know, and that's what I thought. That's what I thought when I saw. Let me throw a couple of other pictures up. I guess most of these are art by Joe Dog.
Oh wow, that's cool. I love the throwback.
Yeah, Whiskey a Go Go. Is this Joe Dog again here? Art?
I'm sorry, what?
Is this Joe Dog's art again here on this one?
Yeah, and that's my favorite actress ever. I like the eyebrows.
So have you guys played, what are some of the clubs you guys played at, you know, the LA area?
Oh, we played them all. We played the Whiskey, the Roxy, Cathay de Grand, everything, you know. Troubadour.
Okay, the Troubadour.
Nice room.
I don't play LA much anymore. You know,
yeah. Okay.
Once in a while. I mean, I play LA actually every Thursday.
Now, Lou, you played in the Whiskey, right? And the Troubadour.
Yeah, they did the Whiskey and the Roxy. Whiskey back in the day, and then not too long ago. I'm getting my years mixed up. I'm worried about my years right now. I can mix it up on my years.
Yeah. Which one of them had the drum set that was like the drum set up like on a
weird. It's a second. Well, the riser and the natural riser in the Whiskey. I mean, the stage is up at a certain level, and then they got a riser on top of that. So when you're sitting on the riser in the Whiskey, you're really almost level with the second level as a drummer when you're playing up there. Anyways, it's a very narrow room. It goes up. It's like playing the Reno Jazz Festival room is very similar. It's the room's like this, like a V. It's not a big, deep shotgun room, not like the Troubadour or the Roxy. It just goes. So it's a tight room, and the stage though is just total rock and roll stage. Big tall stage, big tall riser. So that's how that is. Yeah, but the Whiskey. But I agree with Paul. I mean, LA right now is not the place to play as it was, and that doesn't mean it's not going to be again. But right now, it isn't. Nashville's been on fire. I was just out at Nashville. They're taking over a lot of that during COVID. They kept rolling. Same with South Dakota, believe it or not. The Midwest kept rolling during COVID. The Sturgis Festival I was there 7 stages. It was on fire. So, but I think with Paul's music and stuff like that, I think the LA scene will be back very shortly, and he's in a great place at a great time. I think right place, right time.
Thank you.
That's all I have to
say. Guys, I have a deadline that I need to get. I need to get an offer in on a house.
Okay.
The real world is back.
I have to take care of a client because they're going to be upset with me if they lose this house.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't blame you. My wife and I have our real estate licenses as well,
Oh, cool.
I've been a general contractor since 1979, but we've got a real estate license. We're not real active, but I want to start pushing a little harder. We've sold a few houses, and they were nice deals, but we're not nearly as busy as we need to be.
I think we were lucky we got you as long as we got today.
Yeah,
Paul.
lucky.
We sure
Yeah,
appreciate it, man.
right. Exactly. We really
Well, thanks for
appreciate you
having
coming
me.
on. Like to have you back sometime. You think Joe would even come on with you? Joe Dog, does he do things like this or?
Yeah, I'll ask him. I'll talk to him.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay. Hey,
All right. Well,
thanks
thank
for having
you
me.
very
Have a
much,
good night.
Paul.
Good luck with the album, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Peace.
Bye, man. Okay, so I'm gonna.
Good guy. Good guy.
He's a great guy. Let me show some more of the pictures I had. First of all, this is the most important one.
Wait a minute. That's me.
I know.
That's not Joe Dog.
No. Okay, once again, here's his new album.
Killing me.
Everybody Rains
Killing
on
me.
My Parade. And I tell you, when I read that, Everybody Rains on My Parade, I'm telling you, if I could ever relate to a title, that was it. But look at that beautiful red vine. It looks like a gatefold.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to getting that. And then here's him and his partner. And these are the two Betty and I saw in concert a few times. And they're really, it's really cool, you know. And Joe Dog on the left there, Joe Dog ALMEIDA, terrific artist. I mean, he's a great artist. He's done two paintings for me. In fact, maybe I'll hold him up. Let me drop this back down.
He kind of looks like Dylan in that shot. Does he not? He looked like Bob Dylan.
Okay, so I've got this is the first one. This is the first one I got, and my family bought it for me for Christmas. And it's Jimmy Page playing the double neck. And
Nice.
Joe did this, and this is not a print. This is an original. So he did this for me. Well, when he has those concerts they do, him and Paul Mars Black, he brings all his art and just stacks it up on tables, you know. And it's all rock and roll art. It's just fantastic stuff. And so later on, I wanted to get so I had the Jimmy Page playing the double neck, and I wanted the Jimi Hendrix. I mean, you know, the Hendrix and Led Zeppelin have always been 1 and 2 to me, you know. And so I asked him if he had any Hendrix, and he sent me pictures of 2 or 3 that he had. And I said, no,
nice.
no, I have got to have Hendrix at Woodstock with the white leather fringed jacket on. And so I went online and found some pictures and sent him to him. And this is what he made me.
Wow.
Yeah.
These two Fender actually.
They just came down temporarily. And yeah, no, he did a really good job. Well, you saw his other art too on some of these pictures. Let me show a couple more of these pictures. Apparently, this is all his art. Look at this one. Wow. Sonic Boom, Your Home.
He definitely has like a retro style.
Yeah. Here's the guys again. Hendrix Restaurant and Bar.
Nice.
That's cool. Order now. Everybody Rains on My Parade.
Very cool.
Yeah, Sonic Boom. Viper Room. Yeah, he played at all the places. Here's another one here. Hendrix Restaurant and Bar. Here we go. Where's this one at? This is on Sunset Boulevard West. Oh, the Whiskey A Go-Go. Okay. And we looked at this one already. I thought this one was really cool. And it did also remind me of
Total, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the
totally,
leg, that's a total Chuck Berry, yeah.
Total Chuck Berry, yeah.
Hollow body guitar.
Exactly, yeah. And, you know, Chuck Berry is the artist that got me into rock and roll. You know, I had a father who was a big country fan, a mother who listened to, well, you know, the Frank Sinatras and Perry Comos and that whole crowd. And so there was a tug of war, you know, in my very young life over which style of music to listen to. And I used to walk around with my little transistor radio that sat in your shirt pocket. You had one earplug. You usually get one channel on it, you know. And all of a sudden, one day I heard Chuck Berry singing, what was it, Riding Along in My Automobile, Baby Beside Me at the Wheel. I heard him singing that, and I was done after that. It was all rock and roll from there on out.
You know, hold on 1 second. I heard something in my area here. The stories about Chuck Berry, there's a lot of great stories. And did you ever see the piece where Chuck Berry, because we were talking about the Stones earlier, Keith Richards, a huge Chuck Berry fan, inspired by Chuck Berry.
Oh, yeah. Well, he actually got to tour with him too, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. There's a documentary where he finally meets him and he plays along with him. I don't know if you've seen that. Chuck was just really tough on Keith, you know.
That's exactly right. He wasn't real nice to him. He might even have punched him or something for playing his guitar or something like that.
Yeah, you're saying it was out of tune or something like that. And it was like, what the heck? You know, what is going on with that whole thing? It just didn't make sense. But anyways, someone's knocking radically on my door. Let me check real quick. I'm going to be right back. See if there's an emergency or something. I'll be right back, Royce. Hold the house, Royce. I'll be right back.
Right on.
1 second.
Okay, so listen, guys, in the chat here. I just put a link up. Royce in the house. In the middle of the link, it says StreamYard. If someone would like to join us, just click on that link. We'll bring you on the show. Hey, Michael Nolan, how you doing?
Yeah, because it looks like they're still here. Yeah.
Hi, Michael. I don't know if you saw Paul Mars Black at all from Sonic Boom.
Around the block. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, man.
But Paul had a deadline on a real estate deal he's doing, so he had to get going.
Royce. Oh my. Sorry about that, Royce. You know, the reality of doing podcasts, especially from somebody else's house.
Hi, Kate.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Kate saving us. Kate, dinner is served.
Oh, good for you. What do you have? I already had mine. What do you have?
Looks like I got a stir fry delivered. That's what the whole record was. It's an emergency stir fry.
Hey, it's emergency food at the door. It is an emergency. I'm sorry.
Okay, boom. I'm on a podcast.
You know, I go.
Andy Grant for Lou Mars, yeah.
You
Well,
know,
if anybody else
me.
would like to join us too, we've got the link is still up under Royce in the House, the StreamYard link. Anybody else wants to join us as well?
Poor Paul. We should have probably put Paul on a timeline, you know, with his guy. We probably should say, hey, Paul, you got 30 minutes or an hour. Poor guy's like going, how long is this interview going to go? You know, his wife and his dog are sitting there.
I learned a lot. I really did.
He's a lot of fun. He's a great guy. Apparently.
No, he's a great guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Came across really well.
Very talented too.
But you can tell we were definitely pressing his time at the end. I felt for him. He's kind of, you got like, oh, I gotta go, but he doesn't want to go. He's trying to be polite.
No, I know. No, it's all
Totally
good. You never know.
Yeah,
I mean,
speaking about people that knock on doors, though,
he told me he sold 40 houses last year when he got his real estate license.
That's crazy.
40 houses.
40?
I think I saw 40 states last year. Winning. I love you, Paul. Paul's rolling in dough. I'm rolling in a van, you know, so I think he's doing just fine. But, you know, but these people, I got to say something about this. So you got the knock, right?
Yeah.
I'm not answering. Knock. Have you noticed people do the same thing today with your cell phone? So they'll call your phone. Ring. You don't answer. So they call again. And then they call again. And you're like, I didn't answer it the first time. But people know that the phone is on you. So they're going to keep calling and calling. I don't know what you call it. They don't leave voicemails anymore. Nobody leaves a voicemail. No, they just keep calling you over and over again. So I'm like, what causes a person to think that if you haven't answered the first, second, or third time, that the fourth time is going to be the moment you're going to pick it up and go, oh, thank you. Thank you for irritating the shit out of me.
we've got Michael Nolan, the bottom line. He just made a comment that's going to disappear pretty soon. But he said Chuck Berry was a beast. So he got to hear what we were saying about Chuck Berry. But yeah, that was.
What did he say? I missed it.
Yeah, Chuck Berry was a beast. He was a beast.
Oh, you know the thing about Chuck, it wasn't until not too long ago that he finally got paid for all the people that ripped him off. You know?
No, everybody played Chuck Berry. Yeah.
Before they had the royalty thing really figured out, the Beach Boys, they were one of the bands. The Beatles all did the lift off of
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Johnny Be Good.
Johnny Be Good.
Everybody lifted up. How many times have we heard
Everybody had
Johnny
a
Be
song
Good
that started that way. Yeah.
in other songs, right? No, you know. And he didn't get paid, especially being black. And I'm going to say this because it's the truth. He was black at a time when you couldn't even drink at a water fountain as a white person. That was just the way it was then.
True.
And so to actually credit that guy with that music was just no way. So finally, he got the credit for all of that. And God bless that guy for, you know, what he did. And it's too bad he had to be treated like he did. But thank goodness it finally got taken care of and he got the credit he deserved, you know, is what I'm trying to say on that.
Yeah. No, that's totally cool for you to say that too. You know, Michael Nolan, I got to give Michael Nolan a shout out. Michael Nolan, the bottom line. He's got a great show. And he's been covering all the Led Zeppelin albums. And he just went through his list of
just did Coda, right?
Top 10 Zeppelin songs. And I might even read them off here real quick. He listed number 10 as Achilles' Last Stand, 9, the Immigration Song, 8, Stairway to Heaven, 7, Misty Mountain Hop. I wrote these down for a reason, Michael, because I'm re-listening to all I've got all the studio albums plus some other stuff as well, and I'm re-listening, and I want to see where I wind up with the list of 10. Then he had Over the Hills and Far Away as 6, and I got to say, Over the Hills and Far Away is one of my very favorite songs. I love the earlier acoustic part of that song, and even try to play it on the guitar. Ramble On was 5, No Quarter was 4, A Whole Lot of Love was 3, Kashmir was 2, and Battle of Evermore.
Kashmir up there.
And I've got to tell you, when it comes to like putting my stereo in my vehicle on repeat, I've done that most probably for Stairway to Heaven and Over the Hills and Far Away. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love A Whole Lot of Love. I was a junior in high school when that song came out. And it was the second studio album, Led Zeppelin 2. And Led Zeppelin 1 didn't have any singles. And a lot of people didn't even discover Led Zeppelin 1 until Led Zeppelin 2 came out and the top 40 rock station was playing.
I told Led Zeppelin 4 is when I think the mainstream hit Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, that could be.
Led Zeppelin.
Well, I was attending a school kind of in Las Vegas, and it was a combination of a high school. You go to your last 2 years of high school there, a trade school, and a junior college, all wrapped up into one. So I was with a real different kind of a group my last 2 years of high school, and everybody was into music. Everybody partied. They treated you like an adult. You didn't have to bring a note from mom if you didn't come one day and things like that. So we all got in trouble because there was no structure. But anyway, most of us got kicked out at some point. But
songs,
make a long story short, everybody there was a big Zeppelin fan. And a lot of the guys that loved Led Zeppelin 1 didn't like Zeppelin 2 that much because they thought it was a sellout with the singles and stuff and A Whole Lot of Love.
Right.
They were into the grittier. And the funny thing is, the reason it only took Michael Nolan probably knows this better than I do, but the reason it only took about 30 to 35 hours to write Led Zeppelin 1 is because when Led Zeppelin, before they branded themselves Led Zeppelin, they called themselves the New Yardbirds, and they went and filled the now defunct Yardbirds band's touring dates in Scandinavia. And I have that album. I have that album of the New Yardbirds with the Led Zeppelin lineup. And
nice.
Half the songs on Led Zeppelin 1 are on that album. They were doing them while they were touring when they came home, and they recorded that first album in like 30 hours, 30 to 35 hours. I've read 2 different versions. But and that was because they were playing the songs already on the Scandinavian tour, or many of them.
But I found when I've heard the early albums, I mean, I got into like Communication Breakdown and stuff, but I found Dazed and Confused incredibly boring. And, and I know that No Quarter he had on his list, I found that boring as a young guy. But I thought when I heard Black Dog and those riffs, that I was like, Living, Loving Woman. I was like, my God, what is that? What is that? Yeah. Or like Wonton and the Rover, beat that. And where was the levee breaks on there? One of the most used sample drum beats of all time. I dig that list. What I agree the most with of his list, I just said what I didn't agree with. But what I agree the most with Michael's list, and by the way, belated happy birthday, Michael, if you're still listening. His mom's a hoot, was she not? You see his mom in his last show? His mom's hilarious. And they have the same face. They have the same face. He's his mom and Michael. Speaking of you, Michael, if you're watching. So he put Kashmir at number 2, is that correct?
Yes, he did.
I was listening to that list because I'm a huge Zepp fan too, but at a different angle than he is. I'm the drummer. So I would have probably put Kashmir, believe it or not, possibly at 1, and here's why.
Okay.
Of all of the songs that Led Zeppelin did, of all of them, all the albums, there wasn't, in my opinion, a more original song that they wrote than Kashmir. There was nothing like it. They took a classical approach to music, and it was so great. You had Great White, you had Whitesnake, bands like that emulating it 10, 15 years later to a whole new audience that also, we're like, what is it? But that whole idea of that da-na-na, da-na-na, and then you had Bonham, da-na-na, and then classic Robert. When that was played on the radio, there was nothing like it. There was nothing. It was just like, what in the heck is that, right? And that was the biggest one. Ironically, though, Led Zeppelin only had I think one song ever in the top 10. You can correct me on that, Michael. If you're on there, correct me. I think, and they only had either one hit, and that was, I think, Dancing Days. Dancing Days are here again, off Houses of the Holy. Yeah, the best part of that song, with a tadpole in a jar. Who does that? What a great lyric. Standing on the corner with a tadpole in a jar.
Michael asked me to list my top 10, and Michael, I just really can't right now. I'm going back through listening to all my Led Zeppelin albums, and then I'm going to make my list. And I did mention that when it comes to like my CD player and my truck being on repeat, you can just count on that happening on Over the Hills and Far Away. And I'm not exaggerating. I can listen to Stairway to Heaven 4 or 5 times in a row. And I'm just as happy to hear it the 5th time as I am the first time. And I know everybody's not going to agree with that. But,
it got overplayed. It got overplayed.
Yeah, I know, but there's just something about it. I guess it deserves to be overplayed in my mind. But
beautiful song.
Going to California. I think going to California, it reminds me of all the reasons why I moved to California. To be honest with you, left Las Vegas, California when I was 18 years old. I had taken an auto body class at that trade school I was telling you about in Vegas. That was also a high school. And I was painting my car in the driveway. Everything was all taped off, the bumpers, the tires, the windows. I was out there spray painting my car in the driveway, and my mother walked out. She goes, I'm 18 years old. She goes, are you still moving to California today? And I go, yeah, of course. I said I was. And she goes, well, when are you leaving? I said, well, as soon as I finish painting my car. And I finished spraying it, and the paint was still wet all over the newspaper and tape, and I was peeling it off, getting it all over my hands. I wadded it all up, threw it away, and I jumped in my car with the paint wet and took off for California. That's how bad I wanted that at Hendrix, Nevada back then.
I don't blame you. Your song should have been Ramble On. Oh man, my song when I left California was the Rolling Stones had just come out with Some Girls. Remember that album?
Yeah.
So I'm all hauling ass in my 69 Camaro. And I heard that. It's about 100 degrees in Bakersfield. They're going 110 in Bakersfield. I was cruising through Bakersfield when that song. I'm like, what? That's
the girl with the faraway eyes.
Faraway eyes.
Yeah, I have two copies of Some Girls. They both have the faces that slide. One of the original because I think it has lipstick or blonde hair. I can't remember what made it the original, but when I found out the one I had wasn't, I found the other one and bought it used.
Yeah, the original album had all the faces in the cutouts, but the Rolling Stones had not asked permissions from all the actors and actresses that they had. So they had to re-release it just solid with them all removed. So if you have the album with the original actors and actress faces, that's the valuable album. The other one is not.
Yeah, no.
That's the answer to that.
Yeah. You know what? Let me see if I can find it real quick. I won't spend a lot of time.
Yeah, go for it. No, that was a great album. I mean, you had one song. They were speaking. This is where Paul was talking about earlier, to bring Paul kind of back into this. Paul was one thing I disagreed with Paul just slightly is he was saying back then you couldn't have disco and you couldn't have rock. But actually, there were a couple artists right on the cusp of the 80s that did exactly that. One of the first was Rod Stewart. After Faces and all that, he came out with Hot Legs, I Love You, Hot. He's doing that. And he had that beat behind it. It was disco and rock and new wave all together. And what did the Stones do? Miss You right away, right after that. Ooh, they're doing that. Lord, I miss you. Boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Shattered.
This whole case is only Beatles, Zeppelin, and Hendrix. And this is the album I talked about a minute ago, the New Yardbirds.
Oh, wow. You've got that's got to be worth something.
Rarities. And what's interesting, this is the original Led Zeppelin lineup, but they had, the Yardbirds broke up, and Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck were both in the Yardbirds when they broke up. And after Page laid down a few tracks for Beck's Bolero, he wanted to get back on tour. So he went looking for a band. The first person he called was, the bass player, bass and keyboard. Let's see. I don't know. My mind is like
there's something wrong with the album cover there, though. There's something wrong.
It's John Paul Jones. He called John Paul Jones, and they went looking for a singer. He told John Paul Jones what he wanted to do. They were both session musicians and some of the best musicians in all of England. In fact, I heard Jimmy Page was playing on about 60% of the albums that were being produced over there. He was such a great player. But anyway, go ahead.
Again, Royce.
Go ahead.
No, something's wrong with the front of that album. Hold that front cover up again. All right, look at the outfits they're wearing there. I'm pretty sure that outfit didn't come out till Led Zeppelin live later on. So how could that be the New Yardbirds with that Led Zeppelin outfit?
What outfit are you talking about? Robert Plant's practically naked.
Well, Robert Plant was known for wearing a little girl's blouse with his jeans, but that's not it. That's not the one I feel a conflict. That outfit that Jimmy Page is wearing, the white famous one with the dragon, I don't think was created till later on. He always would wear, if you look at his early stuff in his early 70s, he would wear like plaid pants. He didn't have that look yet until later. So that's controversial.
I don't really have much to say about that.
Where's Michael Nolan? Where's Michael? Michael, look at that album. I think that was done later.
It could be. But the reason I had to pull this out when I came across it was, I'll read the songs. These are the songs that they were playing when they toured Scandinavia. Communications Breakdown.
Great.
I Can't Quit You. Killing Floor. Didn't all three of those wind up on Zeppelin? Side
Communication is a great song.
Huh?
I love Communication, and Pat Benatar did a great version of Lift of that, right? Heartbreaker.
It also has Dazed and Confused on it. So there's a number of songs that wound up on Led Zeppelin 1.
Dazed and Confused was just too much of a stoner song. I was never a big stoner, so I didn't get the stoner. Boom, boom, boom. My ADD just can't handle that shit. I'm like, come on, develop already. Come on.
Anyway,
I've got 30-minute song. 30 minutes of that. Boom, boom, boom. Sorry, Zap. We all have our bad songs. But I love everything else. They were one of the greatest bands ever. Come on, everybody's got a bad song. The Beatles have bad. Feel like the Beatles never wrote a bad song. Oh yeah. Listen to their albums. There are bad songs in there. I mean, even the White Album. It's got some junk on there. Come on, right? Well, don't you do it in the road? Yeah. Number nine. Really? You like number 9? Come on. Number nine.
All right. Well,
that's a shitty song.
I'm not going to try to.
I'm going to so get
album right now. It's a little bit out of place.
I speak of the truth, but I'm going to be like tar and feather here, like this.
Hey, we got a new guest. I'll do a shout out for him as well, and that's Mr. Bizarro. Mr. Bizarro's got a fun show. I tell you, he's got, and I don't know how he gets away with it. I'm glad he does, but they play the music live on his show, and I tell you what,
I didn't know that.
I've never heard stuff some of the stuff before that I've heard, that I hear there, or even the names of some of the bands. It's all kind of like little subgenres, but I haven't heard anything I don't like. I like everything I hear there. I was on a recent show, and let's see, you had Bip Bop Boom, and I can't think of the name of the other guy, but you guys were all taking turns doing kind of a set of songs, and I really enjoyed that. It was really good. So I would definitely recommend Mr. Bizarro's show. And of course, Caitlin,
He's a great guy.
Caitlin's got Caitlin's Corner, and
Caitlin. There she is.
Yeah, Caitlin right here.
Hey, where's that damn camera? There she is.
Oh, you know what? I was asked to do a birthday shout out. I've got to look that
Michael,
up.
right? It's Michael's birthday a couple of days ago.
Go ahead and continue here.
I have to pass on the secret note.
Yeah.
This is like school.
Like super secret.
Yeah.
Because
The answer is. You remember, I miss those days. You'd be like, the girl would be across from you and be like, I love you. I love you. Silly shit that you do, right? Yeah. The answer's 10.
Okay, I was asked by Kate Lipton if I would. She said her. Let's see. Hi Royce, I hope you and your family are well.
Jeanette.
Is there any way you could give a shout out to my friend Kenny on your show next time? He loves your show. I understand if you can't. Well, of course I can. Happy birthday, Kenny. I'm glad you like the show. And one of these times, Kenny, come on in the chat so we can all say hi to you. And we really appreciate you being a fan. We appreciate you watching. And yeah, so happy birthday, Kenny. His birthday was April 24th. He loves our show. Thank you very much, Kenny. All right. Okay, cool. So
Royce, we should go.
see,
We should. You've seen some of these people watching us. We should go hit their shows.
Yes.
Oh, it's kind
Yeah.
of like a raid.
Yeah. We should go. We should go.
It's more like a crash. We're gonna crash your shows.
We need to,
Watch out, we're gonna crash
exactly.
your shows.
I'm gonna put the link back up in case someone else wants to jump on for a bit. We probably won't go much longer tonight. Our guest of honor had, terrific guest, Paul Mars Black, Sonic Boom, but he did have to take off a little early.
Early, we had him for an hour.
Yeah, I know. A lot of
Royce,
shows-
that's not early. That's an hour. To get somebody for an hour. Most interviews on radio, so if you're lucky to get them for 15, 20 minutes. You're getting an hour. You're getting an hour.
Yeah, I don't think a
people.
lot of people expect these shows to carry on the way they do. But I did put up a link, and if anybody else wants to pop on for just a little bit before we close out, please do. Please do. Just pop on, join us for a few minutes. Daddy Boggs or
Julia
Mr.
E. the
Bax
Baker.
or Mr. Bizarro, we enjoyed last time you came on, and
Bizarro.
anybody, yeah. Remember you guys?
Great dime bag
You
stories.
guys were talking drums. I just kind of sat back and let you guys talk drums.
I do
Because you're both drummers. Remember that, Lou?
What's that, Kate?
Yes. Calm down, Luke. Calm.
No, I'm trying to wait for you.
Whoa, chillin'.
Whoa, this
Oh,
is
yeah,
me
Daddy.
relaxed.
Daddy Boggs from back east. He says it's almost 11 o'clock back there. You know.
Well, yeah.
For you is, first off, thanks for posting the live stream of the Alice Cooper concert. I'm resting my bad shoulder, but I'm not having a kick watching Alice. No, just own that stage. I cannot tell you how great that was. I'm like, man, I can't like how many months I have until October. I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck. But I think what this will do. It will serve justice. But my question for you is, what was your favorite part of Alice's performance?
Say, Kate, could you turn your volume up just a little bit?
Yeah, it's up.
The question was to you, Royce, right? For what
Yeah.
was your favorite part of the Alice Cooper performance? Is what she's asking.
Oh, I like the beheading with the guillotine.
He used to hang himself.
I was not expecting that to happen at this small venue. And when they rolled that guillotine out, I mean, I just about lost my mind. It was just a really fun performance all the way through. I actually recorded the entire thing. It's on my Facebook right now. It was a good show though. Really a good show. How about you, Kate? Did you watch that?
I watched it. I was there.
Yeah. What was your favorite part?
Oh, the Frankenstein walk. I'm always
Yeah.
like how Alice, he always has this Frankenstein walk. I don't know how he does, but it's just fun to watch those like that. It's fun to watch.
Well, it was a lot of fun because he's
Every day I watch him. He's fun.
yeah. There was a lot of ghoulish characters that came out. One that was about 10 feet tall and just a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of theatrics and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that. But to be honest with you, some of my old favorite songs, "School's Out" and I tell you what, Ryan Roxy is a hell of a guitar player.
Oh yeah, all three of his guitars were just
Yeah. All of them were good. You're right. Yeah. What was the girl's name? What was the girl's name on the far right? Did you catch that?
No, she's very in right now though. She was like a YouTube sensation, also Guitar Magazine.
Well, there was.
So she's.
I remember Orianthi toured with him last year, but I don't know if that was Orianthi this time.
Oh,
I don't know who that was.
She's good too. I like her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that girl before, but I don't know her name. I've seen him twice. I saw him twice, and I saw him in the early days and more recently. And I like the beheading too. Originally, he hung himself. The first early shows, yeah, he hung himself. What I miss about his new performance, he used to have a nurse that would come out with a giant syringe, and she would chase him around and then stick him with the syringe, and then she'd pull it back, and it'd get all red, fill out and be like, That was a great scene. And he used to have a baby during $1 Billion Babies. He would throw this baby doll way up in the air, and then he'd open up his mic stand, would turn into a sword, like a saber, and he went, shoot, and he'd stab the baby as it came down.
Oh no!
And the baby would go, and then he'd shake it, and the baby would go, ugh.
Well, what's interesting is that's not a very big venue. I think there's like 3,300 seats, and there are no bad seats. You can sit up on the grass area on a blanket, the cheapest seats, and you still have a good venue. Yeah. I mean, you still got a good.
It's kind of like Santa Barbara Bowl. It's kind of like the Santa Barbara Bowl.
Santa Barbara Bowl. Yeah, we saw Rod Stewart there last year, Betty and I. But the thing is, there was I won't say a lot of empty seats. But I was in a pretty good section, right behind the closest section, which was still very, very close. But even at that, there was a whole bunch of empty seats in my row, and I could see some empty seats up, in the high rent district up above me. In my youth, I probably would have just climbed up and got one of those and sat on it,
Well, let me ask you this, Royce, because recently I heard some people dropped out of going to concerts because they were asked for a vaccination card, or they had to get tested before they went. Did you have to go through any of that?
No, they canceled. Yeah, originally that's what the literature said, but they canceled it right before the show.
So I think that's just now part of the reason why people will start coming back, because they didn't like that. I had friends that were supposed to go to the Doobie Brothers, and they're like, forget that. I'm not testing just to go to a show. You're not going to get me to do that. So I'm glad to hear that. But I think it's going to take a little time before people get up and get out again. They got so blown into staying home.
Yeah, there's so many good concerts coming up too. I mean, Ringo Starr's coming back to that same venue, and then Journey's going to be at the Mid-State Fair, and that's not the only one. I mean, there's a bunch of people playing.
Oh yeah, I think ZZ Top is going to be performing at the same venue Alice will be performing. That's 20 minutes from me in June. So ZZ Top will be there. Gary Allen is actually performing this week, but I'm skipping that one for reasons. Nothing gets him. Yeah, I love Gary.
Gary Allen's good. Betty and I both enjoyed his music.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm waiting for his turn tour, so I'm just like, I love you, Gary, but I'm waiting.
Everybody's touring. Everybody has box sets for sale. Sometimes they're colored, come with booklets, and sometimes it's the same album, 2 or 3 versions of it.
Regurgitated.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, check the cover of your album.
Right.
Just messing with you, Royce. I just messing with you. Hey, who was it that had our buddy had the actual lunch pail from Kiss on the last?
Oh yeah.
That's like,
Yeah. That was Jeff. He just came on. Jeff, wasn't that you that had the lunch pail, the Kiss lunch pail, was it?
I think it was. He had a Kiss lunch pail. I think it was Kiss.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That's awesome. That is like awesome. Well, I'm going to check out myself now.
Okay,
at
Lou.
the hour. Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
Kate.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
We'll see you next
Royce.
week. Next week.
I'll be there.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Oh man. Woo.
Okay, so Michael Nolan's talking about Paul McCartney's got super high ticket prices. Well,
Yeah.
what are his tickets going for?
I don't know, but more than my cell phone bill at this point. I'm just staying back. It's a stadium tour, so I've heard. So I won't be surprised if they're just as expensive
Right.
like the
Right.
Stones tickets for that matter. So it won't surprise me. I'm afraid to look. I don't think I'm gonna look. You look.
Huh. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna put the link up one more time in case somebody wants to jump on for a few minutes. We're probably gonna sign off here pretty quick. Make this one a little shorter.
That's fine.
And it doesn't do us a lot of good to have a 2.5 hour show with an average watch time at 28 minutes.
Well, for me, it's like that's why I cut it short. Sometimes 30 minutes to 49 minutes, or even to an hour for mine. I'm like, I don't want to occupy. Like, I really appreciate people who are listening. And I love you guys if you go through our listening. It's just I don't want to. People have things going on, and so it's just I just want to take like maybe a couple minutes out of their day.
Gotcha. Yeah, Michael Nolan says the cheapest tickets are $250. That's expensive.
250.
That's really expensive. Yeah, Jeff Davidson must have heard me last night. I made multiple videos at that concert, and I walked over to where the T-shirts, the Alice Cooper T-shirts were for sale, and I said, "Well, how much are these?" And the guy was talking to other people, and I thought he said $15. I go, "Oh, $15." He goes, "No, $50."
Oh,
I thought,
the is so
no.
expensive.
No, I tell you what, I took my phone and I Googled it, and the exact same T-shirts were $22.
See, that drives me nuts. I mean, I'm not paying $50 for a shirt.
For a T-shirt, yeah.
A t-shirt.
Yeah.
First of all, something to remember.
That's what I paid for my best suit, $50.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm like $50. I'm like, but I'm really glad you live streamed that. I had so much fun.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun doing that. I had some interesting conversations with people just randomly, and everybody was kind of hamming it up. I walked through a crowd of people up above where all the food and stuff was, just filming, and everybody was coming up to me and doing funny things, and it was a lot of fun actually. I really enjoyed it.
I also can't wait for the Stampede in June. I'm ready to break out finally, enjoy the Stampede, and to embrace the Western culture and all that. So it'll be fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm looking forward. I had so much fun at this concert that I can't wait to go to the next one.
I can tell you were having fun. I can hear your voice. On the street.
No, it was awesome. I had a great time. I've never seen Ace Frehley in concert.
Oh, he's awesome. Well, I haven't seen live either, but I know he's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, not near the production of an Alice Cooper, as far as all the theatrics.
Like, he his own kind of style. That's why.
Yeah.
Style with him.
Right.
No, it's great.
Just the fact says the guy that I interviewed at the tables that lived up in Discovery Bay. And Discovery Bay is an awesome place. It's Northern California, and we used to go up there water skiing all the time. I got some crazy stories about this place called Lost Isle up there. This island, you can only get to it by boat. But we go up there and camp out and go water skiing. And this one time, we went up there and went to Lost Isle, and there was a wedding party there. There was a great big, huge, pontoon boat, 2 or 3 stories tall. And there was a wedding, and all these people from the wedding were so drunk they came in, and just as we got there, they were just putting the place back together because they started a fight with everybody in there. And so the actual bathroom was outside. So here's a girl singing, and her father was operating the music machine. You know, he was playing a song, and she'd sing to it. And so I went outside to use the bathroom, and I started hearing things banging on the walls and stuff. I go, no, I can still hear the girl singing. I said, it can't be another fight in there, right? So all of a sudden, I walk up and I open the back door, the screen door, and somebody rolls out and almost knocks me over. They're rolling on the ground. And I stepped into the back room, and there was this huge dog pile on top. And here's my buddy that I was there with, standing in the middle of it, flinging people off. And I looked at him and go, Tim, what the hell's going on? He goes, Royce? He goes, I thought you were at the bottom of this. That's why I'm doing this. But anyway, it erupted, and the whole place was going crazy. And it happened a third time that same night, and they kicked us all out. And we tried to leave. We got in the boat, and I'm out on the stern with a flashlight. And we're trying to find our way back to our campground in pitch black in the fog. And so finally we went back to the bar and pleaded to let us spend the night in the bar, and they said yeah. So that's just one of my Lost Isles stories. I won't go any further than that. But anyway, yeah, we had a good time last night. I really enjoyed, meeting people, and it was just a great crowd of people there. Everybody was fun and friendly, and I've lived in this area my whole life. It seems like, I mean, since the late '70s, and I never saw anybody. Well, I only saw two people there that I knew. It's just 10 miles from my house. One of them used to work for me years ago, and another one, he was a big star at our high school, swimming and stuff. And they're good buddies. They were there together, and John worked for me off and on for 3 years. And so it was really good to see him. I hadn't seen him in years. He lives in Bakersfield now. So anyway, we had fun. And let's see, what's Michael saying? See what I mean? Royce is a master storyteller. Yeah, right. But anyway, this guy lived in Discovery Bay, up on the river up there. And I tell you what, you're up there water skiing, and it's really kind of weird. It's like narrow sloughs with reeds, and you could go flying through there in your ski boat, and the wake would hit the reeds, and it would just knock it back down. By the time you got to one end, you could turn around, and the water was flat again. And you'd ride around, and these things, they just go for miles and miles and miles, these sloughs and stuff. And you could actually take one all the way to Stockton and tie your boat up in Stockton and go have dinner in Stockton if you wanted to. But we wound up finding a lot of unusual places. But you'll be in these sloughs, and all you're going to see is reeds. There may be guys up on these dikes fishing and stuff like that. And you see other boats. And all of a sudden, you turn the corner and you're in Discovery Bay, and your mouth just drops open. Just row after row of absolutely beautiful homes. Every home had an electric dock that would lift the people's boats up out of the water, so the boat didn't sit in the water. And I'm not exaggerating. Not like every other house, not like 2 out of 3 houses. Every house had a dock with a boat lifted out of the water, and the homes were just beautiful. And it was called Discovery Bay, and that's where he said he was from. And it was fun talking to him. He had some KISS stories. I had some KISS stories. He said he was going to be on my podcast tonight. He said he was going to watch and subscribe. So I don't know if he did or not.
So my question for you is that, so was like the Alice Cooper like sold out for the concert?
Yeah. Well, I liked all his classic songs. They were all, all the stuff that I was very familiar with. I think I have either 5 or 6 Alice Cooper albums.
I think I have.
Including the one that comes with the panties in it,
Yeah.
I think that it Schools Out. And I pulled that out one night when I was unboxing Alice Cooper, and I didn't see it, and those pink frilly panties fell down where my feet were on the ground. I knew this has got to be the one, and I tore all these albums open, and I couldn't find them, because I wanted to show people I've got the one with that not everybody has that, and so I came in the next day and I looked down and they were laying on the floor. I'm like, oh my god.
That's cool.
Anyway, that was something else. But
Yeah.
anyway, what's Bill? I still have a Kiss T-shirt got from Eric Singer. Yeah, that's cool. I walked all over London, England with Eric Singer when I was back there, and they were having the end of the road tour, and they were playing in London. And me and Eric Singer and a son-in-law of mine walked around England chatting. When we got back to the hotel where Kiss was staying, my son-in-law actually got invited up to see Gene. I didn't get invited up. My son-in-law did, just because he's friends with Eric. Eric's the Eric Singer is the godfather to my grandbaby, so he gets extra privilege there. I have two granddaughters that have been to Kiss concerts, and I haven't been to one. Anyway, it's fun. If they come out here, I haven't heard anything like that yet, but if they come out here, I'll go see them. I've become a little more of a Kiss fan lately. I've got, I don't know, 5 or 6 of their albums, and I really like that Kiss World, the Best of Kiss, on that red marbled vinyl. It's got good songs on it. And then, of course, I've got the video of my granddaughter singing Beth with Eric Singer up on stage.
That's a cute video. I like that.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So, hey, Dan, are you sure the panties were from the album?
Yeah, Royce.
I told that. Hey, Dan, I told that story to Mike Usnick on the Pink Sock podcast, and I told him, had it been Mike that was showing that off, Mike would have actually just pulled his belt down and he would have been wearing them. you know Mike, he's a crazy guy. He's a comedian.
Oh, yeah, he's funny. I love his humor.
Yeah, no, me too. He's funny as hell.
Yeah, I can't wait for tomorrow's show, so that'll be fun too.
That's right. He's on Mondays. Yeah, Mike Usnick, the Pink Sock podcast.
Yeah.
Real character. He comes on. He's back east, so it's 12 o'clock there, but 9 o'clock down the west coast here. And they were roasting him last week, and I got a pretty good dig in. He couldn't even read it without laughing.
I know. I was trying to come up with the roast, but it just didn't happen. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm not gonna repeat it. I have a clean show here.
well, definition of
his show lends itself to stuff like that.
I'm like, yeah, I think as much as I want to, I think I'm just gonna look here and just laugh at it.
Bob says the Stones have recorded and had Chicago as their home base when touring the U.S. I'm disappointed they skipped Chicago on their last tour. Oh yeah. I bought tickets. God, it's been almost 3 years now. Pre-COVID, they were going to be playing in San Diego, like 3 years ago in May, I think. And as soon as I heard about it, I went online. I bought tickets for Betty and I. It would have been our third Stones concert, dating back to 70, I think, 2, our first one in Long Beach. And so it's like every 25 years we see the Rolling Stones, right? So I bought tickets. Betty booked us a room down there. She booked us a flight, and then COVID hit. And I got tired of waiting, and I just wanted to get a refund at this point because we never knew no one knew if they were even gonna, have a show here at that point. So I called up, and they said, well, no, they didn't cancel. They postponed it. We don't give refunds for postponements. And so time went on. I kept calling and complaining. And finally, I unleashed my secret weapon, my wife. She called and ripped him a new one, and the money was returned into my account the next day. But so we got the money refunded, even though. Oh, but before they refunded it, you know what they told me? They said, "Well, we sent you an email. We had a little window where we would have refunded your money, but you didn't respond to the email." And I kind of lost my mind when they said that because I was calling them like every other week. And I did not get an email. And so anyway, so Betty got on them. They sent their money back. She's better at that kind of stuff than I am,
It was interesting, as like I was like, a student, it was as an older student. I'll play that in my we all know why. So must be very sensitive in a way for these. Yeah. But anyway, it's just like I was just saying, it's really interesting. I did like a whole for my persuasion whatever class, whatever. I can't remember. I did a lot of them, but I talked about how COVID impacted music industry and how like crews were suffering because of how the bands were suffering from it. And so I actually did a huge project on it for one of my classes.
Okay.
It's like for a visual media class, I had a presentation. It's like the project should still be on my YouTube page. So but I was able to conduct interviews on Zoom and put everything together. It was really interesting. I felt bad for those who really did suffer throughout. It was probably one of the toughest periods I've ever experienced.
Right, we're on. Well, there's quite a spirited conversation going on about Kiss and eating Gibbons with Jeff and just the facts. But I think what we're going to do here, guys, we're going to sign off. We're going on 2 hours now, and I think that's probably long enough. So I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for supporting the show, coming on tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I thought well, Lou Mars is always great co-host, but I thought Paul Mars Black was a great guest, and he might come on next time with his partner, Joe Dog Almeida. And I've seen him 3 times in concert up here, and they're great, and they're down to earth, and I can't wait to get the album. And I'm going to show one more time. A few people have joined us. Here's their new album they have out, and I read the review on it, and it's just a fantastic review. Joe Dog and Paul Mars Black, I call him, Sonic Boom. That's the name of their band. They've had that band for a long time, and they were Sonic Boom all the times that I saw them. And they're just really down to earth and cool guys, Yeah. And here's a picture of them just hanging out, buddies.
Yeah, I like that picture. I like that one.
No, I like this one a lot too. Yeah.
That's great.
And all of this, see, Joe Dog here. He's an artist. He made these these paintings I was showing earlier, and all of this art is. Let's see, let me find some of the art here.
Oh, I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, like all of this art is his art. This is all Joe Dog. This is Joe Dog. This is Joe Dog.
That says it all right there, I think.
Yeah. He's a really good artist. He did my Jimi Hendrix I have here, and Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock with the white leather frilled jacket. And prior to that, the family all chipped in and bought me this one for Christmas because these aren't prints; these are original. It was Jimmy Page playing the double neck. Yeah. So anyway, so Joe Dog painted those for me. Anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go now, and I just want to one last time thank everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. And Michael, we appreciate you, and Mr. Bizarro hopping on here, and then all our other friends that are here, Bill and Bob and Maria and Julia and Jeff and just the facts, and Linda was here earlier, and Bill K, and so we had a good crowd here tonight.
Fantastic.
And we appreciate you one and all. Thank you very much. So we're going to sign off now. We'll see you guys next Sunday.